Welcome back, people. Today we are here to learn about list in Python. We already learned about three different data types, which are integer, float, and string. So you should also know that we have several other complex data types in Python. These complex data types are really helpful in building real-world applications. So first, before going into those, we should know that list is one of the data type in Python. And let's say a list can be used to store multiple items in a single variable. As you can see here, this is the basic structure of a list. In this tutorial, we will talk about list. So, what are the points that you should remember while using a list? A list is ordered, which means it maintains the order of the data. It can be changed, which means a list is mutable, so we can modify the items in the list. It is heterogeneous, which means a list can contain data of different data types. Say, element 1 can be a string, element 2 can be a float, and element 4 can be an integer, and it all fits right. List contains duplicates, which means unlike some other data types which do not allow duplicate data, lists can have duplicate data. So a list in Python is very similar to a list in real world. Say you have to do 10 different tasks and you couldn't remember everything. What would you do? You could create a list containing the name and task so that you can follow it. Similarly, we use list in Python whenever we want to represent a list of objects like a list of numbers or names, etc. Here we will see an example of a list. Let's say we create a list called names and populate it with several names. Inside the bracket, we are going to add a bunch of names. Now we use comma to separate these elements of the list. Now, if we print the list, the whole list will be printed. Let's try that out. So as you can see, if you print the list, all the elements in the list will be printed in the same order as you entered in the list. Now, another thing you have to know is we can also get the individual element of the list, just like strings. So just like strings, list also has an index and every element in the list has its own index value or address. Now we have Joe in index 0. If we print this, we will get only the element in the 0th index of the list of names. Let's try that. As you, as you can see, the element in the 0th index is Joe and only Joe is being printed in the second print statement. In Python, we can also have negative index. That means if you want to print a name from backwards, I mean element in the list from backwards, you can also do that. So 0 represents the first element in the list, and minus 1 represents the last element in the list, and minus 2 represents the last but one element in the list. Now let's say you have to change a particular element in the list. But before that, we will try minus 1. As you can see, it prints the last element of the list as the output. So now back to where we were. Now let's say you have to change a particular element in the list. Say you have to replace the second element Hunt with Sam. The index of Hunt is 1. So you will write. So what you have to remember here is the index value starts from 0. So Hunt is in the index 1. We just change the value like we override the value of the variable. Now the list will be updated. Let's run the program now. We have to print it again here to see the changes. Now if we run it, you can see that the name Hunt has been replaced by Sam. We can also select a range of value. Say we need to print the first three names. Just like in string, this statement will print the names, the elements of the list names from 0 to 2. Now, using this statement, we can print the elements of the list within a range. We type print names, open and close square brackets, and the range. We also have to select the range. Here, 0 is the start index and 3 is the end index. Now, if we run this code, Python will return all the elements from the start index to the end index, but excluding the end index. Now, you may wonder, would this modify the original list? No, it won't. It just returns a new list. Let's try entering the list after the after this statement. You will see that. See, as I said, the original list is not modified, and also we get what we asked for. So shall we try a program so that we can understand the list better? Now we have a list called adjectives ADJ, and we have three elements: red, big, and tasty. We also have a variable num, which is short form for number, and the value of num is 0. Here we have a while loop and a condition: num is less than or equal to 2, and if the condition is true, then print the element in the position of NUM of the list ADJ, and after printing it, you have to increment the value of NUM by 1. So if we run this program, okay, so we get this output: the elements in the right order as in the list. I hope you have understood list better. Do try out the code